They told you your blood type is just a detail on a medical chart. But in the ancient traditions of Shaolin and Taoism, it is far more than that. Your blood is not only a substance, it is a story. A river that carries your chi, your spirit, your will, and the echoes of your karma. For centuries, warrior monks have studied not only their breath and body, but the silent rhythm of their blood to understand their nature, their destiny, and how to rise beyond it. In this video, we are going to explore a perspective rarely spoken in the modern world, the deeper meaning of your blood type, not as science sees it, but through the eyes of a seeker, a monk, a master in training. Each blood type reflects a unique inner pattern, a spiritual starting point. Whether yours flows like fire, stillness, wind, or mystery, there is wisdom within it. And when you learn to read that pattern, your path in life begins to sharpen. Through the lens of Shaolin discipline and ancient mindfulness, we will uncover 10 powerful insights about blood self-mastery and the hidden layers of who you truly are. Stay until the end, because the last truth we share may turn your perception of fate upside down. This isn't just information, it's an invitation to look within, to train with awareness, and to unlock the limitless nature of your being. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. I am Shi Heng Yi. Subscribe now and begin walking the path of inner mastery. Close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I beneath all the roles, the names, the memories? The Shaolin path begins not with the outer world, but with the inner terrain. We do not seek labels, we seek truth. When we speak of blood types here, we are not speaking of genetics, personality quizzes, or social categories. No, we are speaking of symbolic essence, the nature that flows through you before thought, before choice. In the ancient schools, blood is seen as a current of chi, shaped by heaven, earth, and the past steps of your soul. Its rhythm is your rhythm. Its tendencies whisper of your starting point in this life. Each type carries its own motion. One may move like fire, direct, fierce, untamed. Another like still water, steady, reserved, deep. Another like the wind, curious, scattered, alive. Another like the silent mountain, observing, balanced, hard to define. But understand this, in Shaolin training, we do not bow to nature, we refine it. To know your blood type in this way is to gain a mirror, not to admire, but to observe. You see your tendencies, your blind spots, your inherited momentum, and then you begin the work of self-mastery. Ask yourself, where do I lose energy? Where do I repeat cycles? Where does my strength become my weakness? Your blood is not your identity. It is your starting form, like the unshaped stone before the sculptor. The question is never, what am I? The question is always, what am I becoming? This is the way of the Shaolin. The warrior's path begins with fire, not the fire that burns out of control, but the fire that is harnessed, focused, directed. This is the nature of type O. It is a blood that moves with force, direct, clear, unapologetic. Those with this type carry a primal strength, a deep instinct to lead, to act, to overcome. In ancient teachings, this is known as the nature of yang in motion, outward energy with fierce intent. But power without wisdom is like a blade without balance. It cuts everything, even the one who wields it. This is why the first lesson for the Shaolin disciple is to master the body, the breath, the reaction, the surge of impulse. Type O often feels the world intensely. They speak quickly, move decisively, and resist hesitation. But the deeper part asks more, not to react but to respond, not to dominate but to understand. Discipline becomes their most sacred tool. Through structure, training, and repetition, the raw becomes refined. In Shaolin temples, the strongest are not feared. They are the ones who bow first, who serve others, who remain still even in chaos. The true warrior does not raise their voice. They lower their ego. They choose the path of compassionate strength, fierce when needed, but never cruel. For those with type O, life will test your reactions. People will provoke, challenge, even admire your fire, but your growth depends on what you do with it. Can you pause before striking? Can you listen before speaking? Can you remain strong without being hard? When fire learns patience, it becomes light. When the warrior turns inward, they become a master. There is a silence that speaks louder than words. A stillness that holds more power than action. This is the energy of type A, the monk's blood. It moves like water in a calm vessel. Steady and quiet. Those with this nature are drawn to order, to structure, to the peace that comes from knowing their place in the world. In the Shaolin way, this is the foundation of discipline, rising early, moving with intention, honoring routine. These individuals often excel in spiritual practice because they respect form and focus. Their minds are deep wells capable of sustained concentration, subtle insight, and quiet strength. But in every gift there is a shadow. The same devotion to order can become rigidity. The desire for harmony can turn into control. When life shifts as it always does, those with type A may resist. They may cling to plans, to rules, to expectations, and in doing so, they create tension within themselves. The lesson is not to abandon structure, but to learn how to bend, like bamboo rooted but flexible. True mastery for type A comes when they begin to trust the unfolding moment. Not everything must be prepared. Not everything must be perfect. In meditation, the monk learns to release the need to fix, to judge, to hold. They learn to watch, to feel, to allow. This is not weakness, it is wisdom, the wisdom of surrender, not as giving up, but as aligning with the deeper current of life. When order and openness meet, something beautiful emerges. Stillness becomes motion, control becomes grace, and the monk becomes free. The seeker walks with eyes wide open, always looking, always questioning. This is the energy of type B, a blood that burns with curiosity and moves with the rhythm of freedom. It is a lively nature filled with sparks of inspiration. Those with this type are drawn to new ideas, new paths, and the thrill of exploring what lies just beyond the known. In Shaolin thought, this is the energy of movement without anchor, powerful but easily scattered. Like wind dancing across the surface of water, it stirs without settling. These individuals often have a sharp mind, a creative spirit, and a hunger for meaning, but without discipline, their energy can drift pulled in many directions, never fully arriving. The teachings say a flame must be placed in a lamp, or it will burn everything it touches. The same is true for the seeker's mind. Shaolin wisdom offers a path, not to dim curiosity, but to focus it. Through practices of mindfulness, breathing, and internal observation, the seeker begins to gather their scattered light. They learn to ask fewer questions of the world and more of themselves, to trade stimulation for stillness, to seek not more but deeper. When attention is anchored, the inner fire transforms. It no longer leaps from one desire to the next. It becomes a steady light of insight. The greatest discoveries are not found in distant places, but in the silent chambers of the heart. Type B must remember, not every open door needs to be walked through. Not every spark leads to wisdom. Freedom is not the absence of limits. It is the ability to choose where you place your mind. And when curiosity turns inward, the seeker becomes awakened. There is a kind of silence that holds everything, light and shadow, joy and sorrow, fire and water. This is the essence of type AB, the sage's blood, rare in number, but vast in potential. Those with this type carry duality within them. Their nature is not one thing but many, not fixed but fluid. They are drawn to both intensity and peace, both structure and freedom. In ancient teachings, this is the path of paradox. To live with opposing forces not as conflict but as harmony. They may feel pulled between extremes, bold, then withdrawn, analytical, then instinctive, but this is not a weakness. It is a mirror of the Tao itself, the eternal dance of yin and yang. The challenge lies in not getting lost in the shifting nature of the mind, to hold complexity without falling into confusion, to observe both sides and still choose their own step with clarity. Shaolin wisdom teaches that the deepest strength is stillness within movement. The sage learns to become the calm center in the spinning wheel. Where others react, they reflect. Where others divide, they unify. This path is not easy. It demands patience, self-observation, and the ability to sit with contradiction without needing to resolve it. But in time, those with type AB learn to weave their opposites into something whole. They speak with both heart and mind. They act with both strength and softness. Their mastery is subtle, not loud, but lasting. In a world of noise, they become the quiet ones who see clearly. In the storm, they are the still point. And from this stillness comes true wisdom. A tree grows where it is planted, but it does not stay a seed. This is how the Shaolin path views destiny, not as a sentence, but as a beginning. Your blood may speak of your tendencies, your rhythm, your inherited pattern, but it does not decide your final form. In the temple, monks are not taught to obey their nature. They are taught to know it, observe it, and then go beyond it. The body has its impulses. The mind has its habits. The spirit, however, seeks freedom. Discipline is not punishment. It is the way we rise above what is automatic. Through repetition, through stillness, through hardship, the monk peels away the layers of conditioned self until what remains is pure, simple, and strong. This is the meaning of true mastery. You may have a blood that pulls you toward fire or silence, movement or thought, but you are not bound to that motion. You are not a prisoner of your pattern. To walk the Shaolin way is to burn through illusion, including the illusion of fixed identity. The warrior learns to pause before striking. The seeker learns to stay before wandering. The monk learns to bend before breaking. The sage learns to accept before acting. Each learns to walk through their fire and not be burned. Destiny is the path you are given. Discipline is the path you create. And the Shaolin path is the one where nature is not denied. It is transcended. There is a rhythm within you, quieter than thought, deeper than words. To hear it, you must become still. This is the way of mindfulness, the art of listening to the inner pulse. In Shaolin practice, we do not rush to define ourselves. We slow down enough to observe. The truth is not found in labels or theories. It is found in the space between the inhale and the exhale. When you sit in silence and feel your breath, you are not just calming the mind, you are learning to sense the movement of your chi, your life energy. Notice your reactions. Notice when your body tenses, when your thoughts scatter, when your heart opens or closes. These are the signs of your natural rhythm, the way your blood speaks to the world. Some flow quickly with fire and urgency. Others move slowly with thought and precision. Some rise and fall like waves. Others stay deep, steady, and hidden. But none of this can be known from a chart. It must be experienced directly. The monk watches himself not to judge, but to understand. With each moment of awareness, the inner map becomes clearer. You begin to see what pulls you, what drains you, what renews you, and with that seeing comes choice. Mindfulness is not a technique, it is a mirror. The more honestly you look, the more you learn to respond rather than react. And slowly, your life becomes training, not for perfection, but for presence. To know your blood is not to memorize facts, it is to feel your own current day after day, without turning away. This is the beginning of self-mastery, not outside, but within. The ancient masters spoke of a quiet art, the alchemy of the soul, not turning metal into gold, but turning instinct into insight, impulse into wisdom. This is the deeper purpose of the path, not to become someone else, but to become the highest form of who you already are. Your blood, your nature, your energy, these are the raw elements, fire, wind, earth or water. Each carries its own rhythm, its own challenges, its own beauty, but none of them are complete in their original state. Shaolin discipline teaches that nothing is fixed. The restless can become steady, the rigid can learn to flow, the fierce can soften, the silent can rise. Through breathwork, movement, stillness, and honest self-observation, you begin to refine yourself layer by layer. This is inner alchemy, not sudden, not loud, quiet, steady, real. A monk does not reject his nature. He studies it like a craftsman studies stone, feeling the edges, sensing the hidden form within. Then slowly he begins to shape it. Your spirit is the refiner. It chooses awareness over habit, presence over reaction, clarity over confusion. And in this sacred process, your base elements transform. Fire becomes light, water becomes depth, wind becomes direction, earth becomes stillness. The one who once scattered now leads, the one who once doubted now sees. This transformation is not given, it is earned. But once it begins, you no longer ask, who am I? You begin to ask, who am I becoming through discipline, through silence, through inner fire? And the answer reveals itself, not in words, but in the quiet gold of your actions. To know your blood is not to find your category, it is to find your mirror, a reflection of the life that flows through you, shaped by the heavens, the earth, and the path your spirit has walked. But the mirror is not the truth, it is the beginning of seeing. When you ask, what is life trying to express through me? You shift from identity to purpose. You begin to listen, not just to your thoughts, but to the current that moves underneath them. This current may be fast or slow, warm or cool, dense or light. It is your pattern, but it is not your prison. Shaolin teachings do not ask you to fit a mold. They ask you to become awake to the self that is already there and to refine it with awareness, breath, and discipline. The monk does not set out to control the world. He begins by observing his own reactions. He watches his thoughts rise and fall like clouds. He notices the pull of desire, the weight of fear, the rhythm of emotion. And in that noticing, something shifts. The reaction becomes a response. The impulse becomes a choice. The habit becomes a teaching. This is when the blood becomes more than biology. It becomes a path, not to be followed blindly, but to be walked with presence. You stop blaming, you stop repeating, you stop drifting. Instead, you become the one who sees clearly, who acts with care, who speaks with depth. This is the true meaning of knowing your blood, not to define who you are, but to awaken to who you are meant to become. Your blood is not your limit, it is your beginning. What flows through you carries memory, energy, and direction, but it does not control your path. It whispers of your inner nature, your rhythm, your challenges. But the teachings of Shaolin remind us you are more than your nature. You are the one who can shape it. Awareness is the first step, noticing how you move, how you react, how you think. With that awareness comes refinement, the quiet discipline of transforming impulse into clarity and pattern into purpose. This is the true path of mastery. Strength can become gentleness, curiosity can become wisdom, stillness can become power, but only when we take responsibility for our inner world. So as you walk through your day, observe yourself, not to judge, but to understand. Your blood is the key. What you unlock with it is up to you. Thank you for walking this path with us today. If this lesson has spoken to something deep within you, we invite you to support our journey. Like the video, share it with others who seek inner strength, and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Until next time, move with presence and walk with peace.